Question number 2, JPLC. So, first of all, we will look at about the requirement of the questions. What is the requirement of the questions? Explain with reference to the above statement the different level of strategy that will exist within JPLC. Explain with reference to the above statement the different levels of strategy that will exist within JPLC with specific reference to the growth possibilities within the BRIC economies. Explain with reference to the above statement at the different level of strategy. Right, here it tests your knowledge on different level of strategy that will exist within JPLC with specific reference growth possibilities within the BRIC economics. Right, we will look at about the given scenarios. So, JPLC manufacture a range of cars. Now, here the group given is JPLC, they manufacture a range of car. The company is structured on a divisional basis with each division having responsibility for a segment of the market. One of the divisions manufacture the most popular car in JPLC own country, and based on this success, JPLC is now looking to expand into new market. The finance director of JPLC has made a statement that the company need to consider its strategic growth possibilities and the emerging economies of Brazil, Russia, India and China might be market for future considerations and for establishing a manufacturing presence. Completing successfully and delivering effectively in these market will be important, delivering the promise to shareholders of 5% profit growth over the next 2 years. Right. JPLC, they have division also, no? Division basis, that mean the business level, no, you can consider that one as a business level. Then under them there should be some functional departments. Now, if you look at about the point given here, the finance director of JPLC has made a statement that the company need to consider its strategic growth possibilities and the emerging economics of Brazil, Russia, India and China might be market for future considerations. Right, that decisions actually for what market you want to enter, country like Brazil, Russia, India and China, the decision normally will be taken at what level? Is it that individual business unit? Can individual business unit take a decisions to go to international market? No. This decision normally taken at the corporate level. The board of directors probably take these decisions to go to some foreign market like Brazil, Russia, India and China. Then competing successfully and delivering effectively in these market will be important, delivering the promise to shareholders of 5% profit growth over the next 2 years. Delivering the promise to shareholders of 5% profit growth over the next 2 years. Right. So, that objective is identified at corporate business or functional level, giving a 5% return. I should be identified at corporate level. Now, we discuss the theory part in relation to this. Accordingly, we identify few points. So, corporate level, that the general level of the strategy of the organization. India, we consider the organization as a whole. Then normally top level managers take decision at that particular level. Then we look at about the business level. India, we look at about the individual business unit or divisions. Their study should support the corporate level. Then we look at the functional level. India, we look at about the each divisions, each department. Then that functional level study should support to the business level strategy, and through that it support to the corporate level strategy. So, that theory should be used here. Here, what is the requirement? explain with reference to the above statement the different level of strategy that will exist within J PLC. The different level of strategy that will exist within J PLC, right. So, in relation to this organization, you have to talk about these three strategies, right. Specific reference to growth possibility within the BRIC economies, right. If I analyze this given scenario in details, so J PLC, they have divisions, so here informations are not available, we will say division, we will say X, divisions Y, divisions Z, then under each divisions you may find functional level strategy, a function actually department can be found. So, here also there will be some department like productions, HR, finance, marketing. Now, here now the strategy considered at the PLC level, probably the group level, we call it as corporate strategy. Strategy considered at the division level, we consider as a business strategy. Strategy considered at the functional level, or in other words department level, we call it as functional operational level strategy. Right. If you look at about the information given here, so at the corporate level they have objective. What is the objective? Here there is an objective they have set. Here the objective is to deliver 5% profit growth over the next 2 years. They are going to promise to the shareholders 5% profit growth. 5% profit growth in each year, right, over the next 2 years actually, over the next 2 years. For an example, suppose in 2020, profit is suppose 100, 2021 they are going to get 105. Then 2022 they want to get 115.50 profit. 2020 100, 2021 105, 2022 115.50. Right. So, this objective is set at the corporate level. It's a corporate level objective. Then there is another decision considered at this level. So, market decisions, international market decisions, normally that decision will be taken at the corporate level. So, another example we can identify here, another example, decision to enter international markets such as Brazil, Russia, India and China. A decision to enter this BRIC countries will be taken at the corporate level. Then if we analyze the given scenario in details, here they will take decisions what type of cars they will make, corporate level decision, that one. Then here, for example, at the division level they may take a decisions, or business level, individual business level they may take a decisions what type of color cars they will make, even the size of the car, that decision will be taken at the business level. Then at the functional level, for example, at the marketing division level, they will take a decisions how to price the car. So, what are the promotional method they will use, that decision will be taken at the marketing divisions, right. Right, I think it is clear for you what I have explained. So, we analyze the scenario given and try to identify 3 levels of strategy in relation to JPLC. I am not going to further explain this one, we will look at about the answer given also. Right, look at the answer given here. Question number 2, I am discussing the question number 2. JPLC strategy exit at 3 main levels: corporate strategy at the top, followed by business strategy. Yes, corporate strategy first, then the business strategy, which then cascaded down to functional strategy. Yes. These 3 levels of strategy are interlinked. We know that facts, it should be interlinked, and to be successful there should be a goal concurrence. The objective should be in line with each other. For example, at the corporate level, if you have planned to earn 100 million profit, if there are 3 division, we will say X, Y, Z, that 3 division collectively should earn 100 million. For example, you say X 30 million, Y 40 million, Z 30 million. The goal concurrence, the lower level should support the higher level strategic objectives. A lower level should support the higher level strategic objectives. Yes. Operation level should support the business level, through that it should support the corporate level, which in turn influence the lower level. Then so he is going to discuss about the 3 strategies: corporate strategy, business strategy and the functional strategy in details. Corporate strategy. Corporate strategy is concerned with the overall vision of the organizations. They look at about the overall vision of the organizations. The purpose, scope, strategy and principle of J company will be set out at this level. Yes. What is the vision, mission, strategy of the J group will be set at this level. The expectation of J company stakeholders should be considered here, as the corporate strategy should deliver value to key stakeholders who can both support or oppose the strategy. So, normally when you are identifying objective and strategy, you have to consider the expectation of the different stakeholders at this particular level. Top level decisions such as acquisition, so closing down of areas of the organization will be made at this level. Top level decisions such as acquisitions or the closing down of areas of organization will be made at this level. Actually, we identify so many examples. For example, new investment, merger, joint venture, acquisition, divestment, franchising, subcontracting, international market entrance. Those decisions normally considered at the corporate level. Now, he just explained the theory part. Then now is look at about application side. Based on the given facts, he is trying to illustrate that one. J company is currently considering entering the new market in the Greek economies, and the corporate objective of delivering 5% profit over the next 2 years has also been set. And normally this is considered at the corporate level. A market that can deliver this will need to be chosen at this level, and the framework for achieving this will cascade down to the lower level of strategy. A market that can deliver this will need to be chosen at this level, and the framework for achieving this will cascade down to the lower level of strategy. Now look at the sentence, a market that can deliver this will need to be chosen at this level. You have to select what are the market you are going to operate. For example, from that Greek economies, are we going to operate in all these 4 countries, or are we going to operate in few selected countries like India and Brazil? A market that can deliver this will need to be chosen at this level, and the framework for achieving this will cascade down to the lower level of strategy. So, based on the decision taken at this corporate level, then others should support this. A further element of corporate strategy is the development of corporate policies such as corporate social responsibility. CSR decisions are taken at this corporate strategy level. J company's official stand on such issues will be determined and documented at this level. So, then what is business strategy? Business strategy define how an organization or a particular business unit approach a particular market. This level of strategy look at how competitive advantage can be obtained. So, theoretically define what is business strategy. Business strategy define how an organization or particular business unit approach a particular market. This level of strategy look at how competitive advantage can be obtained. So, here at individual business level, we have to look at how we can get a competitive advantage. So, each business unit, each division have their own customer base, they have their own competitor list, and the products are different from each one. So, they will take decision how to get a competitive advantage for the organizations. So, J company's management business level is responsible for beating competition. Yes, they want to take decision to beat competitors, and they want to win the customers, winning customers, and will need to formulate strategies to allow them to do this in the emerging market. They will therefore be concerned with decisions such as what range of car to offer in this market, So, you will decide what are the range of cars will be of how to segment the market and which segment to target. The objective cascade down from the corporate level will provide a framework within which the business strategy should be formulated. The objective cascade down from the corporate level will provide a framework within which business strategy should be formulated. This will ensure every of the business is working toward achieving the objective 5% profit growth in 2 years. So, they also want to work to achieve that 5% growth. Then functional strategy, functional operational strategy involve decision of strategic importance, but which are made at operational level. Functional operational strategy involve decision of strategic importance, but which are made at operational level. Example, product pricing. Product pricing will be taken at this functional strategy level. Like marketing people, marketing department will take decisions what is the price they are going to charge from customers on different cars. It is these decisions that determine the success of the strategy, as effectively strategy is only implemented at this level. These decisions are made by function across J companies such as finance, human resource and marketing. Normally these decisions are made by different functional areas. The higher level strategies filters down to the functional unit, which then translate the strategy into specific target, objective and action plan. They ensure that ensure the specific resources are in place for the strategies to be successful. For example, J company's HR function will need to establish what skill and knowledge are needed to deliver the strategy and where it should be sources from. So, HR want to decide what are the skills and knowledge they want to deliver the strategy. And for example, if the required knowledge is not there, they have to take decision to recruit new people or give the knowledge to the existing employee, for example training program. For J company strategy to be successfully implemented, these functional strategies must be consistent with the business and corporate objective of the company. So, these strategies should be consistent with the business and corporate objective of the company. If there are conflict between the strategies that are implemented and the overriding strategy of the organization, then it will inevitably fail. If they are not consistent with each other and there are some conflicts among them, then the strategy will fail. Right. So, with that we can complete the questions number 2 also. I did not go through much in detail about the question number 2, since we discussed the theory part in details in the question number 1. Actually theory part was not explained much in detail in the question number 2. Right. So, then we can look at about the next questions. I think you can go through this revision kit. Actually, here there are some MCQ also. Right, I am not going to touch the MCQ questions. I think you can do it alone. Right. I am moving to the question number 3. Now, in question number 1 and 2, we look at about the levels of a business, and we got some understanding about the 3 levels exist in a business. Now, from question number 3, we are going to look at about the strategic planning process in different businesses. A strategic planning process in different businesses. So, we will look at about what is the requirement in these questions. Required, discuss the relevance of formal strategic planning for his business. So, we had to discuss how can we use formal strategic planning process for this particular business. Right. So, before I am going through the facts given, shall I discuss the theory part in relation to this formal strategic planning process? Right. So, we will look at about this rationale model of strategy formulation first. Right. So, first of all, we will try to get an understanding about what is strategic plan. So, normally strategic plan is prepared for long term, or in other words, strategic plan is prepared for long period of time. For an example, we may prepare strategic plan for next 5 years, or we may prepare it for next 3 years. So, what is the main objective of preparing strategic plan? The main objective of preparing strategic plan is to get a competitive advantage for the organizations. By preparing a strategic plan, we expect to get a competitive advantage. What are the steps to be included? The formal strategic plan may use different approach. One of the most acceptable and more popular approach is rational model of the strategy, rational approach to strategy formulations. Under the rational approach to strategy formulations, we are going to use a step by step process. There is a sequential order we are going to use under this particular model, right. So, we will look at about different steps to be used under the rational model. Right. So, I will try to identify that process in details. So, at the beginning, at the top, we have to identify vision, missions, values, goals, objectives and targets for the organizations. Vision, mission, values, goals, objectives and target will be identified for the organizations. Then we can analyze our internal environment and the external environment. Both environment can be analyzed. For an example, we can analyze internal environment. The objective of analyzing internal environment is to identify strength and the weaknesses. Here the objective is to identify the strength and weaknesses of the organizations. Then we have to analyze the external environment. External environment. The objective of analyzing external environment is to identify opportunities and threats. Opportunities and threats. Here, to analyze our internal environment, we may use few strategic tools. One is resource audit, another one is value chain, then another example is resources and competency analysis. Resources and competency analysis, that is another example. By using this strategic tool, we want to identify strength and the weaknesses of the organizations. Then external environment, to analyze the external environment, we may use tool like pestle model, pestle. Then another one is 5 process model, those are two main example. In addition to that one, you can do this compet analysis also, compet analysis, So, we look at about the internal environment. The objective is to identify strength and weaknesses. Then we look at about the external environment. The objective is to identify opportunities and threat. Then the result of both internal environment and the external environment will be merged through corporate appraisal, The main tool we are going to use for that purpose is SWOT, S-W-O-T, right, SWOT model. Under SWOT model, we try to merge the result obtained from internal environment analysis and the external environment analysis. This strength and weakness is taken, then opportunities and threat is also taken, and we are trying to prepare one particular document. So, here actually I started from vision, mission, values, goals, objectives and targets. Then after that I identify the internal environment analysis and the external environment analysis. But in practice, sometimes we may start from internal environment analysis and the external environment analysis, and after that we may identify the vision, missions, values, goals, objectives and the target for the business. So, this may be changed, but this thing happen within a one particular process. For a small organizations, sometime they may not conduct a detailed internal environment analysis or external environment analysis. Instead, they may directly prepare the SWOT analysis, and based on that they may try to identify vision, missions, values, goals, objectives and target for the organizations. Right. Then actually these things, this stage can be identified as strategic analysis. Then after strategic analysis, we can move to the next one. We can look at about the strategic choice. Strategic choice is the next stage. First of all, we can look at about different strategic options available for the organizations. Then we can look at about we can evaluate the different strategic option available, evaluation of strategies. For example, here strategic options, under strategic options we may look at about 3 different type of strategic options. Corporate level strategy, business level business strategy, then functional level strategy, Then corporate level we may look at about different options like acquisitions, new investment, divestment, international market, then mergers, joint ventures, mergers, joint ventures, subcontracting, franchising. These are some of the strategic options will be looked at the corporate level. Then business level strategy, we may look at about some appropriate strategy for the organizations. For an example, if you look at about the Michael Porter, he suggested 3 appropriate strategies, right? 3 appropriate strategies which can be applied by organizations: cost leadership, then differentiations, focus, then if you look at the Bauman, so Bauman also identify some strategies. He has identified strategic clock. Under strategic clock, he has identified 5 feasible strategic options. 5 feasible strategic options. For an example, no fill strategy, low price strategy, then hybrid strategy, differentiation strategy, focus differentiation strategy. Then there is another option, that blue ocean and the red ocean strategy. So another options, blue ocean and red ocean strategies. Under the blue ocean, we are trying to operate in a new markets which have not been served by any other party in the market. Under the red ocean strategy, we are trying to operate within the existing marketplace and try to increase our sale within the existing marketplace. Then functional strategy, India, we are going to discuss, we are going to identify the appropriate strategy for each functional area like finance, IT, HR, marketing, productions, right. So here we have to look at about different strategic options like corporate, business, then functional. Then what we have to do is we have to evaluate these different strategic alternatives we have. For example, in practice we may have 10 to 15 strategic alternatives. Then we have to evaluate and identify the most appropriate strategy or strategies, because it may not be practical to apply all the identified strategies, and we may not have sufficient resources to do that. Therefore, we are going to evaluate those strategies and we are trying to identify the most appropriate strategy, right. So normally you can use some model to evaluate the strategic alternatives like SAF model, suitability, acceptability and feasibility. Under suitability, we look at about the logic of the strategy, whether it match with the existing organization structure. Then under the acceptability, we look at whether strategy is accessible to the stakeholders. Then feasibility, under that we check whether it is practical of implementation of the strategy, right. Safe, then other one is 7S model. We can use 7S model also to evaluate the strategic alternatives. Then what we can do is, after selecting the strategies, for example, here we may have identified 15 strategies, and here we may identify 2 appropriate strategies to implement. Then this stage actually called strategic choice. Strategic choice. Then we can move to the next one, that is strategy implementations. Strategy implementations. Under strategy implementation, we will look at about few aspects. So, what are the aspects we can look at under strategy implementations? For example, we can look at about the existing organizational structure or proposed organizational structure. That is one area we have to look at. Organizational structure, resources. Then another one is organizational culture. Organizational culture. Organizational culture. Right. This aspect will be look at. This is strategy implementations. Then if you want, you can identify the 4 steps also, or under the part of the strategy implementation you can identify that activity. I am going to identify the 4th one separately, that is strategic control. Strategic control. Strategic control. Under strategic control, we can use approach like balance scorecard to implement the strategic control, BSC. Actually, within the BSC, we mainly identify KPIs, or without using approach like BSC, we can use some of the KPIs, or even if you use the BSC, in that scenario KPI is identified within the BSC. So, strategic control, right, that is strategic control at the 4th stage, or even without identify this one within without identifying strategic control as a 4th step, you can consider this one under strategy implementation itself, right, but I identify it as a separate steps. So, normally what we have to do is we have to follow these steps when we are formulating the strategic plan for the organizations, right. So, first of all you have to do the strategic analysis part, then we have to conduct the strategic choice activity. We can't conduct strategic choice without performing the strategic analysis activity. So, first of all we have to perform the strategic analysis activity. After that, then we can move to the strategic choice activity. After strategic choice activity, then we can move to the strategy implementation activity. After the strategy implementations, we can move to the strategic control activity. So, these activities take place in sequential order. In practice, what happens is these things are documented. These things are documented, and we have a document called strategic plan. So, we call it as strategic plan, or sometimes the same is identified as corporate plan or business plan. Strategic plan, corporate plan or business plan. Normally this is a secret document, this is not an openly available document. Why your strategic plan is not openly available? What is the reason for that? Because this particular document identify what you are going to do to get a competitive advantage for the organizations. You are going to identify the strategies you are going to implement to get a competitive advantage for the organizations. Therefore, this is not an open document, this is normally available to the key person in the organization. Even within the organization, this is not available to everyone, only this is available for the key managerial person like top managers, maybe the divisional head also may be aware on the plan. Right. This is how strategy formulation can be done in a formal manner, right. So, then we will look at the note also. Look at this rational model of strategy. And here see similar to this one is given. You can see at the top you look at about the mission and objective. I detail that one little bit more, right. So, what I have done is I identify vision, missions, values, goals, objectives and targets. So, same step for detailedly identify. Then you can see that position audit. So, actually position audit is similar to the internal environmental analysis. Position audit is similar to internal environmental analysis, right. Then environmental analysis is similar to external environmental analysis, right. So, objective of position audit is to identify the strengths and weaknesses. Then objective of environmental analysis is to identify opportunities and threats. Then corporate appraisal, in there the result of position audit and environmental analysis is merge each other. The STRUT is the main tool we are going to use for that particular purpose. Then strategic options, we identify different strategic options we can implement. Then strategic choice, in there by after evaluating the different strategic alternatives, we identify what is the most appropriate strategy or what are the most appropriate strategies, maybe one or few. Then what we are going to do, we are going to implement the strategy, implementing the strategy. Then you can see the next one, strategic control, right, strategic control. So, from time to time we check whether the proposed strategy is working as planned or not, right. I think it's clear for you, right. Right. Then there is a emergent strategy also. What is this emergent strategy? Look at that point also. So, earlier we discussed about the rational approach to strategy formulations. Rational approach to strategy formulations. In there, we discuss step by step process which can be used to prepare a strategic plan. So, we actually follow 4 sequential steps to prepare the form a strategic plan for the organizations, like strategic analysis, strategic choice, strategic implementation and strategic control. But this one is little bit different from that. Here we don't use a rational approach. We are not going to use a rational approach in strategy formulations. Instead, right, we try to experiment the things and try to identify the most appropriate strategy for the organizations. So, experiment and then we try to identify the appropriate strategy for the organizations. Right. So, we will look at about theory aspect of this first. Look at the theory aspects given. An emergent strategy is one whose final objective is unclear at the outset. And whose element develop during its life as a strategy proceed. Now look at that para very carefully. An emergent strategy is one whose final objective is unclear at the outset. So, at the beginning, it's not clear. So, what the things we are trying to achieve? And what happened? Look at the next point. Whose element developed during its life as the strategy proceed. The strategy is identified when we are implement the strategy in the marketplace. When we are going with a particular strategy, right, we are trying to apply a particular strategy, we right, may with the experience we may try to identify the most appropriate one for us. With the time we gradually develop the appropriate strategy for the organizations. An emergent strategy is one, right? An emergent strategy is one developed out of a pattern of behavior. An emergent strategy is one developed out of a pattern of behavior rather than being consciously imposed in advance by senior management. So, what is emergent strategy is one developed out of pattern of behavior rather than being consciously imposed in advance by senior management. So, it is not identified at the beginning correctly. No, senior manager has not defined it in advance properly. What happened from your behaviors while you are doing the business in the marketplace, you are going to identify the emergent strategy. There is a high degree of experimentation to find the most productive route. So, we have to experiment the things to find the most productive route. To identify the appropriate one, we have to experiment, and then only we can identify the appropriate strategy. Right. So, there is a diagram given. Look at about the diagram given goal also regarding the emergent strategy. So, at the beginning we plan for intended strategy. Intended mean expected strategy. At the beginning we try to identify some strategy for the organization's plan for intended strategy. Then what is the next thing we are trying to do? We try to implement the strategy in the marketplace, deliberate strategies. You try to implement the strategy deliberately in the marketplace. Then what happen? You may realize a strategy in the marketplace. You may find sometime complete different strategy in the marketplace. That the newly found strategy is called as Emergent Strategies. Right? Newly found strategy is called as the Emergent Strategies. Then what happened to that intended strategy? The strategy plan at the beginning, was that realized? No, that was not realized. Therefore, the strategy is called as Unrealized Strategy. Intended strategy didn't realize in the real marketplace and it become an unrealized strategy. If I take an example and illustrate this further, suppose at the beginning organizations decided to implement the cost leadership strategy in the marketplace. You know what happened under the cost leadership strategy, where we produce the good at the lowest cost and try to offer the good at the lowest price to the marketplace. So, we thought the ideal strategy for the market is the cost leadership strategy. So, we try to offer the good at the lowest price to the marketplace. Then by taking some action, we deliberately implement the strategy in the marketplace. So, we try to sell the product at low price, but what happened? We did not get the expected demand. We did not acquire majority of the customers. Then we check the reason, we experiment why this happened, we check the reason for this. Then we found that customers in the marketplace want to buy a differentiated product. They are not worrying about the price of the good, instead they are more worrying about the features of the goods. They are more worrying about the characteristic of the products. So, as a result, we stop using the intended strategy, intended strategy of cost leadership. We stop using the cost leadership strategy, or in other words offering the good at the lowest price. Instead, we are going to offer a differentiated product to the marketplace. Differentiated product to the marketplace, where we offer high quality product with more features and more innovative elements. That is the realized strategy. This newly found differential strategy is the emergent strategy. We found this one, right, emergent strategy. That cost leadership strategy became the unrealized strategy of the organization, because that was not realized in the marketplace. That was not realized in the marketplace. I think it's clear for you now, emergent strategy, right. So, with that we will look at about the questions. So, we will look at about the questions. Question number 3, strategic planning in different businesses. Thomas is the owner manager of a small business. They design and produce high quality garden furniture. So, Thomas is the owner manager of a small business. They design and produce high quality garden furniture. So, what is the business he is in? Design and produce garden furniture. The business started out as a hobby using Thomas' creative design and carpentry talents. He start the business as a hobby by using his creative design and carpentry talent, and he has been super surprised by his success. He achieved greater success. Over the last year, the business has experienced unplanned growth. The business has experienced unplanned growth, and by chance Thomas has just won a contract to supply a local chain of furniture stores. So, they achieve high growth, and they won a contract to supply local chain of furniture stores. The local Chamber of Commerce has recently sent him an invitation to attend a number of seminars entitled Formal Strategic Planning for Small Businesses. However, Thomas is doubtful that the content of the seminars will be of any relevance to him and feel he cannot afford time away from his business. His view is that it is best to let the strategies and development for his business just happen as they have done in the past. Look at that sentence carefully. His view is that it is best to let the strategies and development for his business just happen as they have done in the past. So, what do you think about that statement? Just happen as they have done in the past. Just happen mean, do we use a formal strategic planning process? No, we are not using a formal strategic planning process. Right? We are not using a formal strategic planning process. Instead, what we are doing, right? What we are doing here is we try to identify the strategy with the time. So, we apply something, and with the time we may just that one, and we may try to come up with a modified strategy. So, that view is matched with what? That view is matched with emergent strategies. That view is matched with emergent strategies. Emergent strategies, right? You know what is emergent strategy now. So, we experiment the strategy and then found the appropriate strategy. So, he is not using a formal strategic planning process, and he say that he does not have time to participate for that workshop also. Right? What is the requirement here? We look at about the requirement here. Discuss the relevance of formal strategic planning for his business. So, discuss the relevance for formal planning process for his business. Right. What is the meaning of that? Now, we know what is the formal planning process. So, we discussed the rational planning process, strategic planning process, where we follow a sequential order steps. At the beginning, we are trying to identify vision, missions, values, goals, objectives and target for the organizations. So, you know what is vision? Vision is the ultimate goal of the organizations, the final target the organization is planning to achieve, then mission statement explain the reason for existence, it convey answers for 3 questions: who we are, what we do, where we are now, and explain the current business activities. Then values, so that explain underlying fundamental principles of the organizations. Then goals, those are less specific, relatively long term performance target of the organizations. Objectives are more specific, relatively short term performance targets. Target is the measurement of an objective, the amount we are identify with the objective we identify as targets. Now, what do you think? They do not have formal one like this for the business. Is this relevant for Thomas business? What is your opinion? So this is a small business. Thomas as a person, he may have his own vision, missions, he may have his own values. Since he is directly handling the business, those things may become the organization vision, mission and the values. The founder's visions may become the vision of the organizations. The founder's value may become the values of the organizations. He may have his own goals, objectives and target want to achieve from the business. Therefore, it is not much important for this particular business, because his personal vision, missions, goals, objectives, values become the business vision, missions, goals, values. Therefore, one can argue the relevance of the strategy planning is less because of that. Even internal environment analysis, external environment analysis, right, the relevance may be very low, because right, if you look at about the strategic planning process, normally assume that we are having a relatively stable environment, but in the environment he is facing may be more dynamic and this may not be the most suitable one. But one can argue analysis like SWOT may be useful. Yes, SWOT may be useful, right, even for him, right, he can just carry out a SWOT analysis and check whether right, so he can take out something from that. For example, he can identify strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, right, strength, weakness, opportunities and threat. For example, opportunities, he may find some opportunities available in the external environment and he may be able to capitalize those opportunities, right, if we consider them, right. Then strategy part, actually, so we business like him, he is planning to apply more emergent strategies, therefore come up with a more formal strategy may not be worth for him. With the time period, he may decide what is the most appropriate one, right. He may adjust the strategy based on the market requirement. Therefore, applying a formal strategy may not be much appropriate for his business, right. Therefore, still he can use this strategic planning process, but the importance of that one will be minimum for him. That is the point you want to highlight when you are explaining this, right. Then we look at the examiner's answer also. So, question number 3, strategic planning in different businesses. Strategic plan are formal statement of directions. So, first of all, examiner define what is strategic plan. They are formal statement of directions. Yes, it provides the directions. When you have a strategic plan, it provides where do you want to go. The rational model of strategic planning is a logical and comprehensive approach. Rational model of strategic planning is a logical and comprehensive approach. Yes, we identify logical steps under the rational model. It follows a sequence starting with an analysis of the environment and the organizations. Yes, you look at about the external environment, it look at about the internal environment. These strategies are generated, evaluated. So, we identify the strategic alternatives, then we evaluate them, and the best alternative is chosen. Then we identify the best alternative strategy. This alternative is then implemented. That identify strategy is implemented. So, first of all, he explained what is strategic plan. Then he explained what is rational model of strategic planning. This formal planning process suit organization that operate in a stable environment. Yes, I also mentioned the same point. This formal planning process is more suitable for organization operate in a stable environment and which have the resources to undertake strategic planning, From the information given, Thomas business sit in a dynamic environment, has few resources to devote to planning. Yes, he is not in a stable environment, his environment is changing rapidly. Therefore, he is in a dynamic environment and he does not have much resources to devote for the planning purpose. Thomas cannot afford to take time away from his business to attend the seminar, so it's unlikely that he would have the resources to devote to doing a formal plan for the direction of the business. Even he is not having enough time to go to that seminar. Therefore, it's not practical to have time to develop a formal plan. His business has experienced unplanned growth over the past year, and he has won a significant contract, so the environment is certainly not stable. A formal process may be too static to keep up with the dynamic environment of Thomas' business. It may also fail, align and be unhelpful in a small creative business. So, formal process may not be applicable for business like Thomas. A formal model consider the mission and objectives of the business. A formal model consider mission and objective of the business. The expectation of stakeholder must be considered when setting strategy. However, Thomas is an owner manager and has few shareholders or stakeholders to answer to. In the mission or objective for the business are those he has developed from the time that the business grew out of a hobby. These are have to be inseparable from his own goal. Yes, his own vision, mission, objective may become the business vision, mission, objective, and there are no other stakeholders. So you don't want to worry, right? No other shareholders actually. Thomas' view of strategy is emergent rather than following the rational model approach. So, Thomas' view of strategy is emergent rather than following the rational model approach. Emergent one, right, is not using a rational model approach. Emergent strategies arise from ad hoc. Ad hoc mean for a particular specific person, or even uncontrolled response to circumstances. If they work, they may then become formal strategies. Thomas' recent business success has been unplanned, which reinforces his view on the usefulness of responding to event. His recent business success is not plan one, it's unplanned, right. A planning approach that considers new products and market is part of the formal planning process. Thomas is like to stick with the product that he knows that are creating growth for his business. His success is built on his own talent as a hobbyist, and he is effective in one-man brand. He has also just won a significant contract, is therefore unlikely to have the inclination or resources to pursue new opportunities at present. He may not have required resources to apply or capitalize new opportunities. However, Thomas can learn some useful lesson from the formal planning approach. Yes, he can learn something by looking about this approach. While Thomas need not undertake a full strategic planning exercise, he can adopt some of the most useful features, maybe using a back of the envelope approach. Thus, he need to consider his competitive environment, do a SWOT analysis. I had to consider competitive environment, he can conduct a SWOT analysis. This should help him see where his strengths and weaknesses lie. To some extent, he can use the formal strategic planning process. Right. So, with that we can complete the part A, and then we will look at about the part B of the questions also. Right. Before raising the part B of the questions, examiner has given some new scenario for you. He has given some facts for you. So, we will look at about the facts given. Here he say Thomas' brother Kennedy is a senior manager at the V company, which operate in the leisure and entertainment industry. Now, examiner is talking about the Thomas' brother name is Kennedy. He is a senior manager. He is senior manager at the V company. So, V company is operating in leisure and entertainment industry. The V company is a multinational company. It's a multinational company which has a range of different ventures in different countries. So, multinational, and they have different ventures in different countries, including fitness centers, casinos, cinemas and sports bars. Each of the venture is run as a separate business. Each of the venture is running as a separate business. Right. So, here what is the requirement? B, distinguish between the different level at which strategy should exist in the V company. Distinguish between the different level at which strategy should exist in the V company. Distinguish between the different level at which strategy should exist in the V company. Right. So, this test your knowledge on levels of business which have been discussed earlier. So, we will look at how that particular knowledge can be applied in this given scenario. Right. Here company name is V company. Then they operate in different countries. Different countries. So, we say country A, example country B, country C, country D. So, within each country there may be different functional department such as productions, HR, finance, marketing. Strategy identify at the V company level, we call it as corporate strategy. Corporate strategy identify at each venture in different countries, we can call it as business strategy. Business strategy. Then strategy identify at different department level, we can call it as functional or operational strategy. Functional operational strategy. Right. So, at the corporate level, corporate strategy level at V company, so you know what type of decision normally they take. Normally for example, new investment at this particular level, they may take a decision to add new venture in another country if it is profitable, right. Or they may decide to acquire a already exist business in another country, acquisitions, or they may enter to another country as a joint venture, or they may merge with another party in another country, merge decisions, right. So, those will be taken at the corporate level. Then individual country level, they will decide what is the strategy they want to use to get a competitive advantage in respective country. So, they have different customer list, different competitor list, and they will define how they can get a competitive advantage in each country, right. Then at the functional level, so each functional area will decide how they support to achieve the business objective, and through that the corporate objectives, right. So, 13 mark questions, therefore, I think you have to talk about the theory, plus you have to talk about the application side also. We will look at about the answer. Right. Look at the part B. So, first of all, examiner define what is a strategy. So, strategy is a course of action including the specification of resources required to achieve a specific objective. It is a course of action including the specification of resources required to achieve a specific objective. He defines what is strategy. Organization draw up strategies which are embodied in corporate plan. With the corporate plan, these strategies are included. These are translated into more detailed operational plan. These are translated into more detailed operational plan, which are then filtered down the organizations. In this way, high level objective become detailed operational activities. The activities at the lowest level are guided by and constrained by activities at higher level, so that strategy is consistent throughout the organizations. And normally high level objectives are detailed into operational activities. So, when you are identify the activities at the lowest level, you have to look at about what are the requirements at the higher level, and ultimately you want to ensure that strategy is consistent through at different level in the organizations. However, strategy can be made at any level of the organization, not just at the top. Now, he is going to talk about the three strategies in details. So, we will look at about 3 strategies in related to this business in details. Corporate strategy first. Look at the corporate strategy. Corporate strategy is the most general level of strategy in an organization. So, we define that one in that way. Corporate strategy is the most general level of strategy in an organization. This is the most general level of strategy in an organization. It covers what type of business the company as a whole should be in, and is therefore concerned with decision of scope. I define what type of business the company as a whole should be in, and it take decision on the scope. Decisions are made at the strategic apex, yes, top management actually. Strategic apex means top management take decision at this particular level. Corporate strategy also consider how this would match the expectation of stakeholders and what investment it need to make to get there. At the corporate strategy level, we want to look at about what are the expectations of stakeholders. Based on that, actually we have to define what are the objectives we want to achieve. This will be set out its mission and stated as decision on future acquisitions, mergers, divestment and so on. Those are some of the decisions we make at this level. VPLC currently operate in the leisure and entertainment industry. As a corporate strategy, it would consider whether to diversify into other activities such as food retail or maybe limit its activities or even cut these back. So, at the corporate level, we may think to diversify these activities into more areas, that new investment in new business areas, or even in addition that one maybe some other decisions like merger, acquisitions, then joint venture, those can also be taken at the corporate strategic level. Business unit strategy, business strategy define how a business operate in a particular market or the activity of a particular business unit within the overall corporate strategy. So, it define what is business strategy. This refers to how a business should segment its market and specialize in profitable areas, so compete by offering a wider range of products. This refers to how a business should segment its market and specialize in profitable areas or compete by offering a wider range of products. Responsible this level of strategy will lie in the each strategic business unit. Yes, each business unit is responsible on this. For example, venture in each country is responsible on this, which will then make decisions of what strategies to adopt in its own market. VPLC has a range of ventures across the globe which cover diverse number of activities from cinemas to casinos. Each business unit operates as a separate business. As such, they are responsible for decision on activity within their market to activity. Porter's 5 process is a useful tool to consider competition from new entrants, substitutes and competitors and relative power with suppliers and customers. So, they can analyze their respective industry by using the Porter's 5 process model. By using the Porter's 5 process model, we can determine the competitiveness of the each market they operate. Then operational strategy. Operational functional strategies involve decision of strategic importance which are made at operational level. These decisions include product pricing, some of the decisions. Product pricing, for example, market people decide how much they are going to charge. Investment in personnel and in plant, these strategic decisions would be made within the individual businesses by the operational managers who may decide on the price of cinema tickets. One example is given, cinema price ticket is decision, price of the cinema ticket is decided at the operational level. Opening hours for casinos and buying new equipment for the fitness centers. The contribution of these different functions determine the success of the strategy, as effectively a strategy is only implemented at this level. So, the key point here is that strategy is ultimately implemented at the operational level. Yes, a detailed program is implemented at the operational level. Right, with that we can complete the question number 3. Then we can move to the next. Right. So, I have completed 3 questions. Then I am not going to discuss the question number 4, because it tests about the same knowledge again, corporate level strategy, business level, functional level strategy. I am planning to move to part B now. Under the part B, I am going to look at about the environment analysis and the strategic positions. So, in there, first of all, we will discuss about the question number 5. Question number 5, right. If you look at about question number 5, thermoplastic. This question tests your knowledge on product life cycle concepts, and it tried to test how relevant product life cycle concept to this particular business, and what are the ways this company could use to develop its future marketing plans. Right. Before discussing the questions, shall we look at about the theory part bit? Relevant to this product life cycle. Product life cycle. Right. Like human being, product face different stages in their life. So, what I have stated here is like human being, product face different stages in their life. As human being, you pass different stages in your life. What are the different stages you pass in your life? What is the beginning? Birth. Then there was a time period called child, then maybe teenage, then now you are maybe in young age, person like me in the next stage, maturity stage, not the maturity actually, this what I can say is yes, maturity in life to some extent, maturity, then there is another stage called elderly, right. So, then ultimately what will happen, so we will die, So, similar to that, product also pass different life stages in their life. There is a birth for the products, then there is some happy times, then there may be some bad times, and product also may die, that also may go out from the market. If we look at about the product, we try to identify the different life stages of a product based on the behavior of the sales income. How sales income behave will be considered when we are trying to identify the different stages of the life of the products. Here I am taking time, here says introductions, growth, introduction, growth, maturity, then decline. So, there are 4 stages in the life of a products: introduction, growth, maturity and decline. So, we identify these distinct stages based on the behavior of the sales income, how sales income vary. So, introduction stage, the first few month of a product we call it as introduction stage. At that period, what do you think about the sales? Can we identify a high amount of sales? No. So, at the beginning we can normally experience a low quantity amount of sales. At the beginning we have to spend a lot of money on advertising to give the product awareness. Then we may have a low number of competitors. Our production cost will be high since we are operating at a low capacity levels. Then growth stage, what happened to the sales income? Sale income increase. Sales income increase. Now, still we have to spend a lot of money on advertising. Why still we want to spend a lot of money on advertising? So, new competitors may be attracted into the industry, therefore, there will be high competitions, right. To face that we have to spend a lot of money on advertising. But what happened? Our capacity usage is increased, as a result cost is started to come down now, right. Then at the maturity stage, this is normally the longest period of a product life, sales peak, that means sales reach the highest level. If you look at about this one, you can see 3 different stages: increasing maturity, then plateau, then decreasing maturity. Highest sales income can be identified at this particular level. At the same time, we can identify the highest profit level also. Then we can identify so many competitors also. Lowest cost can also be experienced at this particular level, since we are operating at the highest capacity level. So, lowest cost per product can be identified at this particular stage. Then at this particular stage we started to experience decline in sales also at the latter part of the maturity stage. Then decline stage, what happened, some of the competitors also leave and sales income drop, cost may again started to increase, and we may reduce our advertising expenses for survival purpose. Then after some time what will happen? So we may probably go out of the markets. So why this PLC important for the business? Based on the life stage of the product life cycle, we can take different decisions. We can take different decisions based on the different stages in the life of the products. Right. So we will look at about the theory part also a little bit on this through some PowerPoint. Right. Look at about the 4 life cycle stages and their marketing implications here. You can see these inductions, growth, maturity, decline. Right. Next one, you can see the characteristic of different stages of the product life cycle. So characteristic at different stages: introductions, growth, maturity and decline. So what about the sales? Sales and inductions, what about the sales? Is it high? No. Inductions, we show that normally we can experience low sales. Then growth stage, what happened? Sales started to rise, increase. Mature stage, peak sales, you can identify the highest sales income at the mature stage. Then decline stage, what happened? Sales started to decline. Costs at the induction stage, cost is high cost for customer. Due to the reason for that one, we are not operating at higher capacity level, therefore we are not in a position to enjoy some economic of scales. So normally we operate at low capacity level, as a result cost is high. Then growth stage, what happened to the cost? So you can experience average cost for customer, cost started to come down. Mature stage, what about the cost? Low cost for customer. Actually, since you are going to operate at the highest capacity level, you started to experience some cost savings like economic of scales, therefore cost will be minimum. Then decline stage also, cost will be minimum. But with the time it will start. Then What about the profit? What happened to the profit? Induction, normally you may experience negative profit, in other words losses. Why? Our cost per product is high, at the same time we have to spend a lot of money on advertising, but our sales income is low, therefore we may experience some losses. Growth stage, what happened, that negative profit become positive and we may experience rise in profit. Then mature stage, we can experience high profit. Then decline stage, what happened, profit started to decline and it may become losses maybe at the later stages. Actually mature stage you can experience the highest level of profit. This cash flow actually can be generated, cash flow generated from generated at the maturity level can be used for other business development also. Competitors, introductions, what about the competitors at the induction stage? Can you identify so many competitors? No, we can identify only few competitors. Sometimes there may be no competitors at all, 0 competitors. But growth stage, what happened to the competitors? Competitor number started to increase, growing number. Then at maturity stage, you can experience many competitors. Decline stage, what happened? Number of competitors started to decline, declining number. Then customer group at the inductions, we can identify innovators. The customer group we can identify as innovators. Growth stage early adopters, maturity majority, decline stage laggards, that the last group who started to buy the product, laggards. The number of distributors at the induction stage, it will be few number of distributors. Growth stage, increased number of distributor will be increased. Mature stage, you can identify many number of distributors. Then decline stage, now we do not want to have so many distributors since our sales has come down, therefore started to decline. Then sales promotion at the induction stage, we have to spend lot of money, high amount should be spent on sales promotion to give the awareness. Then growth stage, still you have to spend lot of money for the sales promotions. Mature stage, what happened, you do not want to spend such amount, you have to manage that expenditure because now product is already established one, therefore you do not want to spend lot of money on sales promotion since customers are well known about the products. Decline stage, sales promotion reduced to the lowest level, minimal level, right. Then we will look at about the questions also. Part A, analyze the relevance of the product life cycle concept to this company plastic garden furniture product. So, we did not go through the facts given, we will read the given facts. Thermoplastic makes molded plastic products. Until recently, the best selling product of the company have been plastic tables and chairs for garden furniture. Look at this sentence carefully. Thermoplastic make molded plastic product. So, they manufacture molded plastic product. Until recently, the best selling product of the company have been plastic table. Until recently, the best selling product of the company have been plastic table. So, that indicate now there may be some problems, no? Have been plastic table and chairs for garden furniture. Increasingly, however, customers are wanting more natural product for their garden furniture, especially wooden and cane furniture. What do you think about the stage of their product life cycle? Are they in introduction? No. Are they in growth? I don't think so. Why? They have just passed the growth stage. Until recently, the best selling product of the company have been plastic tables. So, now they may be in the mature stage. Oh, one can argue they may have just reached the decline stage, but are still going with the mature stage. They may be in the maturity stage. Or you can argue that they are maybe in the decline stage also, but to conclude that we do not have much data. If their sales income has started to decline at a rapid pace, then that may indicate they are now in the decline stage, right. So, what is the relevance of the product life cycle? The relevance is the company strategy vary based on the stage of the life, right. For example, how much you want to spend on advertising depend on what is the stage in the product life cycle. If you are in the induction stage, then you have to spend lot of money on advertising, because your product is new and people are not aware about the products. Therefore, you want to give the awareness about the products. To give that awareness, right, you have to spend a lot of money. Growth stage, there will be new competitors, therefore, still you have to spend a lot of money to give the awareness, right, about the product. Mature stage, you do not want to behave like that, you can cut some of the advertising expenditure since product is already established one. Then decline stage, you have to reduce the advertising expenditure. Like that, there are so many other decisions you can get based on the stage of the life of the products, especially the marketing mix variable decisions, right. You know what are the marketing mix variable decision? Product, price, place and the promotions, right. So, we will look at about the answer of the examiner also. Relevance of product life cycle concept. The concept of the product life cycle in the context of marketing is based on the fact that many products pass through a series of stages in their development. The concept of product life cycle in the context of marketing is based on the fact that many products pass through a series of stages in the development and sales life until eventually they decline and are withdrawn or fade from the market. So, it explains what is product life cycle concept. Then typically initial sales during the induction stage are likely to be relatively slow, follow where the product is successful by a rapid growth stage. Eventually growth begin to slow as the product enter the maturity and saturation stage of its life cycle, and eventually in the final stage the product decline. It explains the 4 stages of the life of the product. The plastic garden furniture product of this company are clearly in the maturity decline stages of the product life cycle. The plastic garden furniture product of this are clearly in the maturity decline stage of the product life cycle. It based on your argument. So, one can argue this is in the maturity, one can argue this is in the decline stages. Resulting in a fall in sales and profit, there can be several reasons for this, but in this case it appears that customers need and want have changed. Customers now want more natural furniture product for their garden, so the company must respond. Right. Then we will look at about the part B of the questions also. Outline 3 ways in which this company could use the product life cycle concept in developing its future marketing plan. So, outline 3 ways in which this company could use the product life cycle concept in developing its future marketing plans. Right. So, how can they use these PLC concepts? What are the suggestions? So, at maturity stage, so what we can do? Right. 3 ways. Right. So, here maturity stage, one thing you can do is, you can do some improvements to the products. You can do some improvements to the product. For an example, right, without keeping the same product as it is, you may add some features to the products, or you may enhance the quality of the products. As a result, product life may be extended. Look at a product like Sunlight, how many changes they have made from their inspections, from inceptions. For example, they may add lime, or they may do some changes to the product appearance. So many changes are done. As a result, what happened? Product never die, right? So, it is able to survive for long period of time, right? Long period is right, survive as a result of that. Product like Coca-Cola, more than 100 years they have survived. So, they extend their maturity period by doing some improvement to the products. Right. Then another thing they can do is, at the maturity stage, introduction of new products. Induction of new products, that is another thing they will do. So, because we know now we are at the maturity stage, and within short period of time, we know product is going to experience the decline stage of the life cycle. Then after some time, we know if we reach the decline stage after few years time, so we will disappear from the market. Then we do not have any product to enjoy profit. So, therefore, it may be the right time to introduce new products. So, when the existing product die, we do not want to worry. Why? There is a new one who is started to earn profit for us. Probably that may be in the growth stage at that particular time. So, that is another decision we can take. Think about Coca-Cola for example. So, in the world there are some concern about the Coca-Cola products, especially about the sugar content. These diabetics people may be more worrying about that. So, they have introduced a new products now. Initially they introduced this Diet Coke initially, then recently they introduced this Zero Coke. Now, see, this diabetic group also can now enjoy the product. So, if the original product die, nothing to worry, there are some new product which can take that particular place in the market place, right. That is second thing. Then another one is you can take some other marketing decisions, that 4 P's decisions can be made at this particular level. 4 P's decisions, for example, how much you want to spend on advertising. At this particular level, do we want to spend lot of money for advertising? No, and you can manage these advertising expenditures, right. So, those decisions can be taken, right. So, I identify 3 strategies. So, we will look at about the answer, right. Look at about the answer. Also, three potential use of product life cycle concept by thermoplastic. First one, extend the product life cycle, plastic tables and chairs. The first use of the product life cycle is the development of plan to try to extend the product life cycle for the company Plastic Garden Furniture. Yes, they can extend the product life cycle. Product do not necessarily have to die, and indeed many successful product and brand have through extension strategies had their life cycle continue through many years. In fact, some of the best known brand in the market, such as for example Kit Kat chocolate bars, Coca-Cola soft drink and Oxo stock tubes have been market leaders for 50 years and more. Yes, these are some of the example, right. Kit Kat, Coca-Cola, right. So, they are market leaders for more than 50 years, they have never died, right. The marketer can use the concept of the product life cycle to look for ways to prolong sales, extend the sales and profit per a product. This can be done through, for example, updating a product technology or design, introducing a new packaging or finding new market and use for a product. Obviously, product life cycle cannot be extended if the basic reason underpinning the decline of the product cannot be addressed. In this case, the company would need to assess the extent to which the move away from plastic furniture could be halted or slowed down, perhaps by promoting the relative merit of the plastic versus wood. In this company case, what you have to do, right, we may think to hold or slow down, right, by promoting relative merit of the plastic versus wood. Then developing and launching new products, that is the second strategy you can apply. The second use of the product life cycle is in highlighting the need to develop and launch new product, because product eventually mature and decline. The marketer need to ensure succession of new product in order to sustain sales and profit. Yes, when one is die, you should have another product which create some sales income and profit for you. Moreover, these new product need to be in the process of development open loan before existing product enter their mature and certainly saturation stage. This is because of the length of time often needed to develop new product allied to the fact that, as illustrated in the diagram, yes, it takes some time to develop the new products. Profit often peak quite early in the product life cycle. In fact, this company appear to have neglected this use of the product life cycle, impeding maturity and decline of their plastic gun products should have been forecast earlier, allowing the company to plan new product as replacement. Yes, now still they have not introduced any new products, no. So they had to do that one actually. Now it may be too late, but now they have to do that. Then developing marketing plans for each stage. Third, use of the product life cycle is based on the fact that the different stages have different characteristics from a marketing point of view. Yes, there are different characteristics at different stage and therefore require different marketing activities and plan. I give some example for you. For example, advertising expenditure, how you want to spend advertising, right? How much you want to spend on advertising. It depends on the stage in the marketing. It depends on the stage in the product life cycle. So, for example, in the induction stage, the emphasis must be on making customers aware of the new product through, say, advertising and gaining shelf space in distribution outlet. Yes, initially you want to give the awareness and you want to get some space in the distribution outlet. In the growth stage, marketing effort need to be concentrated on expanding the market for the product and beginning to fight off competitions. Growth stage, you want to expand the market for the product, right, and you want to face the competition also. In maturity and saturation, marketing effort must increasingly be aimed at protecting market share. Yes, at the mature stage, we have to protect our market share. And in the decline stage, marketing may be aimed at extend the product life cycle and or planning and order withdrawal of the product from the market. We may try to extend or we may try to withdraw it from the market. By understanding then which stage a product is at its life cycle, the market is able to develop marketing plan appropriate to that particular stage. Accordingly, we can decide what is the most appropriate plan, right. Based on the stage, we have to take a decision on the appropriate plan, right. With that, we can complete question number 5 also. Question number 5 also, and so then we will stop for the day and again we will meet with some more questions.